What's up, Knicks fans? All season long, we've been talking to you about Fanatics Fest. Well, here's one more reason to get excited. Knicks Film School will be recording a podcast live from the Javits Center this summer. So if you've ever wanted to witness an episode, an interview, or maybe a crash out live and in living color, now's your chance. Come meet the entire Knicks Film School crew at Fanatics Fest when it returns to New York City from Thursday, July 16th to Sunday, July 19th. 4 action-packed days when the entire sports world comes together under one roof. You'll also have a chance to meet Knicks current stars like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and Hall of Famer Knicks legend Patrick Ewing. Plus, you'll experience autograph and photo opportunities with other world-renowned athletes and celebrities, as well as other live podcast recordings featuring iconic guests. Tickets are available now at fanaticsfest.com, and when you use code KNICKSFILM10, you'll save 10% on your tickets. Again, that's KNICKSFILM10 to save 10% off of your tickets. So come spend 4 days with us at the world's #1 sports fan festival. You won't want to miss it.
Okay, welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook, where that was an interesting night. So shout out to anyone who was joining us for the Knicks Film School Watch Along, where me and Andrew were having a very pleasant evening before Sean came and tossed a grenade into the Watch Along in the final 5 minutes, but we will not hold that against him. That was an interesting game, and an interesting game that I think on one hand, it's easy to write it off, and you look at the final score and you say, all right, they put up 130 points against a terrible team, and they won by double digits, and a bunch of Knicks who you would expect to do good without Jalen Brunson did well. And just don't make anything more of it than kind of the final result and the fact that they needed a win and they got a win. And yet, I think if you peer a little deeper, there are some interesting layers to this game. And I'm looking forward to getting into it and kind of seeing where people are at, because this game probably as much as any game that we have seen in a while, I think is a Rorschach test for a few different things, and it'll be interesting to see where people land on a number of different levels. So I will start, I guess, with the most interesting man of the night, because isn't he the most interesting man of every night that he plays for the Knicks? And that's with Karl Anthony Towns, who had his first triple-double of the season with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. Seemed like he was gunning for a quadruple double for a while, finished with 7 turnovers, which was a team high, but stopped at the triple double, thankfully. Had himself a very efficient night, 20 points on 8 of 12 shooting, and came out in the first quarter of this game and really the first half of this game looking like a guy who, again, Rorschach test, by my interpretation, was looking to maybe remind anybody who needed reminding, like, hey, I'm one of the 10 most talented offensive players in the sport. And I am going to, even though it's against the Grizzlies, I am going to take this opportunity to remind everybody who may have needed reminding exactly what it is that I am capable of doing. And the Grizzlies could do nothing with Karl Anthony Towns. Now, you could obviously make the case that the Grizzlies, with the current personnel that they are working with, are probably worse suited to try to slow him down than just about any team in the league. And that's fine. But we've also seen a lot of instances of teams not necessarily having, or sorry, other teams not having necessarily the best personnel that were able to seemingly slow down Karl-Anthony Towns, or I'll phrase it differently, against whom Karl-Anthony Towns did not look anything like he looked tonight. And he looked awesome. Even with the turnovers, he looked awesome. He was in full command of the game, and he was, doing everything the Knicks needed him to do from a passing standpoint, from a scoring standpoint, really just across the board. And it was very good. And then the third quarter started, and the Grizzlies spread the Knicks out like they had done, like they had tried to do in the first half, and did to some extent with some success, because they hit, I think, 9 of 20 from 3 in the first half. So that's why the game was as close as it was at halftime. I think it was a 15-point game. Or 15-point game? No, 17-point game. So, and then the lead started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and they were attacking Cat again and again and again. And then as this was happening, there were some offensive possessions where you watched and maybe wondered a little bit, oh, he's really gunning for the triple-double, isn't he? In particular, there was a play, and you could say it was the correct basketball play, because I think arguably it was, again, Rorschach test, where it looked like Cat had what I think either a uncontested or maybe semi-contested look at the rim after he had driven, nice drive, and he instead kicked it out to Josh Hart, who was in the corner looking for a three. Now, you could read that as like, hey, this team hasn't been nearly unselfish enough. Here's the guy in the corner who had a quote after the last game talking about we need to be unselfish. I'm going to be unselfish, and I'm going to kick him the ball in the corner, and I'm going to show everybody, and including the guy I'm kicking the ball to, that I can be the bigger man. And then not long after that, Karl-Anthony Towns was taken out of the game, and he was on the bench, and that's where he stayed for roughly the next 11 and a half minutes of game time before Mike Brown put him back in for the final, I think it was like the final 7 minutes of the game. Yeah, 7 minutes of the game, because he was at 22 minutes for a while, and he finished with 29 minutes. As the lead continued to disintegrate, and I think the Grizzlies got to within 2 at one point. And I'm watching, and Andrew's watching, and I've got a few texts from people, and I'm like, all thinking the same thing. Like, is Mike Brown, is he benching Karl-Anthony Towns? And I just don't know what to make of it. Truly, I don't know what to make of it. Was he benched? Was he benched because of what the Grizzlies were trying to do on offense and exploit him? Was he benched because Mike Brown thought he was playing for stats as opposed to playing the right way when they had the ball? I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea, and I am going to be very interested to see if this gets asked about after the game. I think Steph's there and Steve is there as well. I would assume that one of them asks, and just as I say that, guess who's the defensive player of the game? Ariel Hukporti, who was on the court for a significant stretch of time while the Grizzlies were trying to make this thing a game, and had some very nice defensive plays, I should say, at the outset. He had one exceptional contest at the rim that was like truly top-notch contest. And I thought Ariel Hukporti was good defensively. Came down with 6 rebounds, 5 of which were actually on the offensive glass. But he was a plus 13 for the game. Like, he was good. Ariel Hukporti was good on a night when they didn't have Mitchell Robinson. But just all very interesting stuff. So that's number one. Number two, and this goes hand in hand with the Cat point, which is, again, me and Andrew were talking about it in the moment, and Andrew was kind of like, listen, it's the Grizzlies. That's the beginning and the end of the thought. And I watched this team go out there, and in putting up 48 points on what looked like a very overmatched Grizzlies defense at the time, 48 points and 14 first quarter assists. They ended up with 36 assists for the game, but 14 in the first quarter en route to 48 points, highest point total of the season, second most ever in any quarter The record was 49 from a few years ago. On a night after they got 22 assists total. I looked at a team that was like, there is a brand of basketball that we are capable of playing that we have not shown, and we're showing right now, just in terms of how quickly they were getting off the ball, how much players were moving around, how much players were moving with a purpose, how just freely everything was flowing. And they looked, again, almost like a group of guys who were like, we know how we could play. Let's go play like it. And they outscored the Grizzlies 48-30 in the first quarter, and it looked like we were going to be in for a rout. Now, the two interesting parts of that, and again, Rorschach test. Number one, Jalen Brunson, not in the basketball game. Number two, the good times did not necessarily last, because when things got tight, when the Grizzlies started to make their little push in the third quarter, all of a sudden that Knick offense that put up 48 points in the first quarter, all of a sudden they couldn't do much, even before Towns was taken out of the game, and then especially after Towns was taken out of the game. They couldn't do anything, and they ended up only scoring 20 points in the third quarter, and there were a lot of possessions, and credit to the Grizzlies for bearing down defensively for really that whole quarter. But there were a lot of possessions where the Knicks could not get a quality shot attempt. And they tried a lot of different things. Tyler Kolek got a lot of minutes in this game, got 19 minutes. Jordan Clarkson, only 11 minutes, interestingly enough, by the way. And we're going to talk about someone else who didn't get a lot of minutes. And yeah, they were trying different stuff. Hart was in there for part of it. Mike Brown went a long stretch of time in the third quarter with no center at all. So when Cat went to the bench, it was actually a while before Hart in. OG Anunoby was effectively the 5. We got a little Mo Diawara time. So they were clearly trying. He was trying stuff. Now, was that more about? That was probably more about what, like, trying to stop the Grizzlies on the defensive end. But again, it's like a reminder. Like, yeah, when Jalen Brunson's in, it looks more heliocentric, because it is more heliocentric. That's the sort of basketball that Jalen Brunson is more capable of playing. And yes, they have absolutely, and we talked about the whole first quarter, they have had absolutely major issues trying to blend Brunson's comfort level with maybe what the comfort level of the other players is. But the notion that, like, this team doesn't need Jalen Brunson to get the ball rolling downhill against good defenses, because, lest I remind you, this Grizzlies defense is not a good defense. And the fact that they were able to make the Knicks in the third quarter look like they didn't know where to go for solid offense is just another reminder, like, oh yeah, they kind of do need that Brunson guy. Now, it leaves us with the same questions of, okay, great. Everybody, no sane person would ever actually argue that this team is better without Jalen Brunson, or they don't need Jalen Brunson. But that doesn't remove the issue of how do they start games better? How do they start games looking and feeling, putting aside the fact they're not going to play the Grizzlies every night, how do they start off games looking and feeling like they did tonight, with Jalen Brunson in there, and with Jalen Brunson playing, how he knows, how to play, how he's comfortable playing. And with 5 games left in the season, we still don't really have an answer to that question. So that's another thing. Now, as a corollary to that, and this is actually combining my first 2 points about Cat and about what they did tonight and what they needed to do tonight to win the game. Little disconcerting that, again, against a Grizzlies team that, like, some of these guys are talented, certainly. Cedric Coward is a talented rookie. Like, Gigi Jackson's had some moments over the last couple of years, like, clearly a talented guy, but, like, This is a bunch of two-way guys and 10-day contract guys that were out there that forced Mike Brown's hand to be like, oh, I can't have Carl on the floor right now. Now, again, which is why, I'll say it again, Rorschach test. Was it because of something that was going on offense, or was it purely because of the defense? Either way, if Mike Brown felt like he could not have Cat on the floor because it was unsustainable defensively against this team, what does that say for when they are in a playoff series against Boston or, Cleveland or, and pick any East playoff, Atlanta, and so a little bit of a concern there. Obviously, Cat's had a very good defensive season, borne out by the eye test, borne out by the numbers. Asked to do more, obviously, tonight on offense. Did that affect his ability to, or was it just kind of a weird thing with the Grizzlies saying like, hey, we're just going to go super small? But, it was an interesting decision by Mike Brown to like make the trade-off that he made. Okay. Enough on that. Other stuff of interest. Josh Hart. Talk about guys who did not play maybe the minutes you would have expected them to play tonight after issuing some very interesting quotes following last night's loss to the Rockets. Thank God they didn't lose to the Grizzlies. Last night's loss to the Rockets, talking about, we gotta play unselfishly. This is a must-win game. We're trending in the wrong direction. Yada yada yada. Josh Hart came out, and I thought he was great in the first quarter because all of them were great in the first quarter. They played an exceptional quarter. After that, things got a little uneven for Josh. Ends up with 4 shots taken, 2 from deep, 2 from 2. Finishes with 5 points, one of his lowest point totals in quite some time. I'll look it up right now. And then 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers. Not a great Josh Hart game. And Josh Hart, even so, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, not on the court to close the game. I do not think Josh Hart I'll double check it right now, but I don't think Josh Hart played a single minute in the fourth quarter. And yes, by the way, this is the lowest amount of points Josh Hart has had since the win over Houston back on February 21st. So about a month and a half. So last time you have to go back for Josh Hart to have as few points as he had tonight. And I will double check I know he didn't play in the fourth quarter because we didn't see him in the fourth quarter, but just going through the fourth quarter minutes right now. OG played the entire fourth. McCall played the entire fourth. Landry played 9 and change. Jose played the entire fourth. Cat played 7 and change, and then Huck played a little bit, and Tyler Kohler played a little bit. So yeah, no Josh Hart. And actually, Josh Hart started the third, but played he played the first 9 minutes of the third, and it was a minus 11. So not great. So interesting stuff there. Again, taking into account Josh's comments after the last game. Well, this was a put your money where your mouth is. And you really want to talk about selfishness, selflessness, and putting the team first and sacrifice and all those sorts of things. Well, guess what? That means if you're not having a great game, you don't get to finish. And instead, and it's shame on me that I've been talking for almost 20 minutes and I have yet to mention this guy's name explicitly. Welcome back, Landry Shamet, because boy, did we miss that guy. Picks up right where he left off. Finishes the game playing the 4th most minutes on the team. OG played 40. Again, not ideal. You got to play OG, I don't know, be 40 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back on a night he hurts his wrist against this dog shit Memphis team. Not ideal, but whatever. 40 minutes for OG, 36 minutes for McCall, 32 minutes for Jose, 31 minutes for Landry Shamet. Of all the things that I heard while Landry Shamet was out, the thing that I was, that I always kind of in my mind, like never passed the smell test was like any implication, even a little bit, that Landry Shamet's rotation spot was in the slightest danger. Because Mike Brown looks at Landry Shamet like, some people look at their kids like you could do no wrong in my eyes. You are to me, you are perfect. And by the way, he's not that wrong because Landry Shamet's been pretty fucking amazing for pretty much the whole year. Finishes tonight 5 for 9, 13 points. hit, I would argue, the biggest shot of the game when the Knicks, it got to within 3 points, not 2, got to within 3 points. Memphis had started off the third quarter, 25-11 run. Landry Shamet hits a 3 to calm things down. And yeah, OG, by the way, a couple of big threes in the fourth as they put that game away, and also made one of the best defensive plays that I have seen a Knick make this year, and all of the top ones are pretty much OG Anunoby. Close out on a 3-point shooter, and then I forget which shooter it was, but as that guy put the ball on the floor to attack the closeout, OG managed to stuck with the play and force the pass. I said it at the time, and I'll say it again now. There are not 3 defenders in the game of basketball that can make that play. And OG was ridiculous. I see Andrew in the background. I'm going to finish up my monologue, and I'm going to bring you up. So great game, OG. Talked about Cat, talked about Hart. Another name, shame on me for not mentioning it. We're 22 minutes now in, is Mikal Bridges. 9 of 15 from the field, 24 points, only 3 of 9 from deep, but nice to see him get up 9 3-point attempts because his team needed that from him tonight. I thought both Bridges and Anunoby, and again, I'll actually end here, and we'll hit on Diawara and Kolek, maybe throughout the night, comments and whatnot. I thought both of them played well. Interesting. OG and Mikal, both guys playing really solid games and being assertive and taking on more responsibility. Now, with great power great power comes great responsibility. OG Anunoby not always living up to that responsibility, because pretty much every foray to the rim, anytime there was a Grizzly in the vicinity, did not go well. That's not one of OG's strengths. And, you would like more recognition on his part, but that in and of itself is like a very, to me, interesting microcosm of this kind of overarching question that kind of hovered over this game and has kind of hovered over this whole season, which is like, yeah, this team needs Jalen Brunson because there just aren't enough collective high-level basketball skills elsewhere on the roster to make them as good as they need to be without what he brings. And you see it when, like, OG, again, for example, puts the ball on the floor and there's contact waiting for him at the rim. At the same time, like, you want a confident OG Anunoby. You want an assertive OG Anunoby. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we're left with a different version of the same conversation we've been having for the entirety of the season, which is like, where is the happy balance? Where is the happy gray area where everybody feels engaged and everybody feels properly recognized, and everybody feels like they're within the flow of the offense and they have enough shots and the whole thing and all of that great stuff, while at the same time making sure that you are accentuating the collective strengths of the team. Because it's not about, in theory, individuals. It's supposed to be highlighting, okay, we have this collection of skills. How can we, there's only so many we could deploy at any given time. Can we find the combination in which it is the highest, the highest tide, that lifts the ships the highest? And that's the goal. And that's been the goal for now 76 games. And they haven't quite figured it out yet. We'll see if they can make some more headway before the playoffs, or if, as others have theorized, there is some mystical, magical switch that they just have to flip on. And if they flip it, then everything will be all right. On that note, I didn't mean to do that, because Andrew hates when I say that when it's being used incorrectly, which I just used it incorrectly. There he is. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, John.
And hi.
On what note? Are you playing an instrument, or
there's no note?
Do you have like a pad and paper and you're going on that note that I wrote down earlier? Or are we a jazz podcast now?
I think I did it. I think I did it because I was thinking, like, we've been so confused about this season for most of the time And here's the man who can answer all of your questions. So on that note of confusion, here is the Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of KFS.
Because if there's something I know, it's how to fix the Knicks and all the answers to this cluster bleep of a basketball team. Can I actually first of all, what time do you have to go?
I have to depart this live stream in 30 seconds.
Okay. Then it might be better for me to use the analogy later. I'm just going to now spend those 30 seconds plugging something that happened tonight. So shout out to our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. We're going to go through best bets in a second. We're also, if I can find it.
It's right here.
No. The squad bet overlay.
That was the squad bet, wasn't it?
The overlay I'm talking about. All right. Well, Fanatics Sportsbook has a thing called squad bets, if you didn't know. For my parlay tonight on Betting and Sweating, I went with a Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby squad bet with 28 plus rebounds. So here's how it works. The three of them combined just had to get 27.5 or 28 rebounds. And the over hit despite Josh Hart's personal over hitting the under.
And Cat, I think, too.
Cat might have. Yeah, Cat might have been because over 11.5.
There's no way his over-under was only 11 in this game.
But because OG overachieved and had 13, the squad helped me hit on this parlay. Starting this Friday, our best bets will be a squad bet going forward and then continuing throughout the playoffs. So the contest we've been running where you bet a $10 parlay ticket, you're entered to win $100 in fan cash every Knicks game. That will be true with our squad bet going forward. Let me tell you, folks, I have been crushing it on these squad bets since they were introduced, especially on rebounds. Just pick Jokic, just pick Donovan Clingan, who has been the second coming of Dennis Rodman. Cat has been great for this. Jason Tatum, because he's playing the 5 on most nights. Like you can.
What's great about it, just to be very clear, like on a night, normally if you have just a regular parlay, which parlays are fun, but like normally if you have a night on a parlay and you could tell early on that like, oh, one of my legs is not going to hit, I'm screwed, which happens often on a parlay. You don't have to have that issue with this.
Bingo.
Which is exactly, it's
like I mentioned with Josh Hart, where he had 6 rebounds tonight, despite
I just put it in different terms than you because that's what I do.
For example, like if you wanted to pick a points parlay, you can do 4 different categories: points, rebounds, assists, and 3-pointers made. Say it's a night that you go with 3-pointers made, and it's like 4 different Knicks to hit a total of 10 threes. And it's one of those nights that Cat has 0 and Brunson has 1, but it's a night that OG has 5 made threes, and maybe you pick Deuce for the other 4, right? And then you eventually hit. So that's how squad bet works. It's available in the Fanatics Sportsbook app. Follow along with us with our contest throughout the season. John's going to go over to
not on that note. Yes. I will see you in a little bit.
Shout out to you, John. Absolutely. Mark, and then there were 2. Shall we go over our best bets for tonight? This is the final best bets of the season, by the way.
Oh, wow. I feel honored.
Yes, there you go. So this is the new one, and the reason it's the last one of the season is because we were very bad at best bets. But here we go. Our best bets of the night, presented by our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. Mensa hit. OG Anunoby 3+ 3-pointers made. That hit with flurry of threes in the fourth quarter. He got that over. We're doing it on the watch along. Macri had the Knicks to cover -13. This line dropped to -13 because Brunson was declared out. It was 14.5 when John originally took it, and then it dropped to 13. The Knicks won by 11. So unfortunately, the Grizzlies covered. And then Jeff, he had Brunson 8 assists was his original one, and then we had to go with a backup of Cam Spencer 2+ 3-pointers made. However, if anybody bet a $10 bet on this parlay, you were at least entered to win a $100 prize in fan cash from our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. Getting your gear ready for the upcoming playoff run that I think the Knicks are going to go on. I don't know how long that run's going to be and who they'll play, but shout out to our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. Mark, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. I had a night, but we don't have to get into that.
We don't have to. Okay. I'm sorry you had a night. Was it worse or better than the New York Mets offense right now?
I'm unaware of the Mets offense.
So this 3-game series they just played against the Cardinals. They went 1 for 29 with runners in scoring position, scored 1 run in the final. Let's see if I have the math right. 1 run in the final 24 innings of play.
You know what? My night probably wasn't that bad.
Okay. So you're succeeding more. I do hope whatever's going on is better, but
no, it's not so bad.
Shall we read a couple of Oh, okay.
Missed my own parlay. I missed it by 1 assist, and it gets you.
Was it Josh Hart?
No, it was the missed assist was I had 5 assists going for, because I saw that right before the game, I saw that Brunson was declared out. I went with Jose Alvarado for 5 assists, and he had 4. And everybody else, I mean, I picked like 6 other, I think it was like 6 other guys to clear some points, and everybody, including Jose, cleared it. And I really thought that without Brunson in there, and we're playing the Grizzlies, so it'll be easy scoring. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So I may have a pretty lucrative parlay, a squad bet to talk about.
Oh.
How much time is left in the Nuggets game right now?
It looks like 6:59.
So
7 minutes. Yeah.
I went with a 4-player squad bet. OG, Tyler Hero, Paul George, Cam Johnson to get 18 threes at plus 2,000.
Oh, wow.
And they're at 17.
Got 3.
Cam's got 3. He gets 4. Then that hits.
Then you hit?
Yeah. They're at 17 right now.
Well, I'm looking at the score, and Denver is up by 13 points with 7 minutes left. So I would say that's close enough of a reason to keep Cam Johnson a hot shooter in the game right now.
I'll say. And then let's see.
The odds are in your favor. Wait, can I ask you something? Do they allow the cash outs? No.
You don't. I'm staring at a cash out right now if I want to take it.
Yeah, you want to ride
I need one more.
You want to ride
plus 2,000 to hit right now.
I got you. I rarely cashed out. But I'm like a cooler. I may as well be a cooler. Like last night, I picked Brunson, and that didn't go too well.
Should we should do some super chats so people don't hear about our.
Yeah, I'll clear the stage for you to.
Oh, okay, that works. Yeah.
There's only 9 tonight.
Yeah, so... I saw. It's the Grizzlies. Hopefully, it's a. And thank you everybody for your contributions. Yes. By the way, we appreciate it. We appreciate
very grateful.
The contribution.
Any contribution, even if there was just one.
It was just one. We would spend the whole 35 minutes that we have to get to just talking about your one super chat. We greatly appreciate all the super.
Andrew could do it. I couldn't do it.
I would be able to vamp. There'd be so much out of town scoreboard going on right now. Although I gotta be honest, I am staring at the Nuggets game just to see the game log to see if Cam Johnson gets me that other 3. Do me a favor, just pull up the Nuggets.
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, pull it up and then just let me know in the chat if it happens.
Okay.
All right, let's do some super chats. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Staring at 666 people in the chat. One more person come, or please one person leave. Bill Peterfriend, this felt like a loss. Jeez. This team is broken with a few games left. I'll almost be shocked they survive round 1, let alone round 2. Having a hard time seeing this team gel to find the needed next level. So it's funny. I'm going to reference my good friends at the Game Theory podcast, Sam Vecini and Bryce Simon. They just did a mailbag episode, and one of the questions that they were asked was, what team in either conference, 3 through 6, is the most likely to make a deep playoff run like we've seen the last few years? We saw the Mavericks do it. We saw the Heat do it. We saw the Pacers do it. Which team is the 3 through 6 seed in either conference that is most likely, in their expert opinions, to make a deep playoff run? They both chose the Knicks out of both playoff runs. Then the next question was from someone in Philadelphia. What team would be the most likely, the best matchup for the Sixers to upset in the first round? They both picked the Knicks. And it's the funniest reality about this franchise and about this team. That's their ceiling. That's their floor. They're the most likely team to make a run from a 3 seed or a 4 seed. They're also the most likely team to get upset in the first round. And it's what leads to the consternation and the frustration and the annoyance that a lot of people in this fan base feel, that you clearly feel, Bill. And that's why I understand it. I enjoyed 0% of last season's regular season. I think a lot of people felt that way, that there's just so much frustration about lineups and the starting five not working. And like from January 1st on, it just felt like a team had done one thing to them and they didn't adjust ever. And, I was fully expecting a very quick exit and maybe we'll have some fun in the postseason. And then it turned into one of the best postseasons that they've had in franchise history. I went into this season more determined to I'm going to enjoy the good, because I can't do 82 games of consternation. And despite some of the losses being very loud and very frustrating and asking these very deep, concerning questions about the team and the franchise, I still have had a lot of fun at times this year. Like the NBA Cup was fun. Christmas Day was fun. The Nuggets game was fun. Cat's crazy ass triple double tonight was fun. I'm determined to enjoy the fun, while admitting, Bill, you're 100% right to feel the way you feel, that you'd be surprised if they survive round one, let alone round two. It's just the reality of who they are. They have earned that reputation too, with their high ceiling, low floor play. So thank you, Bill. Always appreciate your contributions. Next up, from Dying Because the Knicks. Jeez. Cause of death, the Knicks. You're like the Curb Your Enthusiasm character, Carl. The Jets killed Carl, and kind of the Knicks. And I'm assuming Carl was a Mets fan too. So when Leon gets fired after, I did not know this was going to be the tenor of the super chats. So when Leon gets fired after the early exit, who will a grossly overpaid Masai Ujiri target over 4 decades of pain and requited, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Requited, that's what it is. Love, Sai. Man, it didn't even cross my mind that Masai Ujiri is going to be the Dolan target, which wouldn't put it past Dolan. He tried to hire him the last time, and then Masai successfully wasted the end of the Raptors' prime with that core and got very, very poor asset packages back. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It's unrequited. Unrequited. Okay, I've clearly never used the word, Mark. Sorry. I'm not sure who he'll target. I'm sorry that you're feeling this way. I will just say, we felt worse last year. I know we felt worse last year. Still got 5 games left in the regular season. If they get Toronto in the first round, I would predict the Knicks to sweep that series. They get Detroit in the second round. It would be a tall task, but who knows what the state of Cade Cunningham is, and it would follow recent trends of teams dominating one team in the regular season and then it mattering nothing come postseason. And then round 3 against the Celtics, let's go to war against the team that we eliminated last year. And Jason Tatum on a repaired Achilles, I should say, having to play a third playoff round. Who knows what condition he'll be in? Not to say I hope he gets hurt again, but it's a lot of wear and tear to put on a guy that's coming off a torn Achilles, even though he's looked outstanding since he's been back. Don't give up hope just yet. I know I'm the complete inverse of what you're normally getting, but we'll see what happens. Thank you, Dying Because the Knicks. And thank you, Mark. 448, nothing left from Cam Johnson. I'm going to stare at this cash out number again. Z Raheem. I think this is Riyad Raheem. Love JB, but he's out and that ball's zipping out there and they couldn't cover against the Grizzlies. It's just, I had to deal with this during the post game, during the watch along. Yes, the ball is zipping out there. There isn't an absolute conversation to be had. John and I had it for most of the watch along tonight.
Mark, you gave me the magic word to cash out. I think he just got subbed out of the game. I've officially cashed out, by the way. Hold on, you're off the stage, Mark, so I can't hear you. Hold on. What's up?
Sorry, he got subbed in. I said.
Oh, I misread it. Whatever. I'm happy. I'm now don't tell me anything about this game. I'm A-okay. Riyadh, there is a fascinating conversation to be had about that the Knicks have like a solid top 7 or 8. There are some really good lineups that feature like Jalen Brunson and the way he likes to play. There's some really good lineups that feature Karl Anthony Towns being more of a hub and a point guard that just focuses on getting him the ball like Alvarado did in that first half. Ball's easy to zip around against a team that's a 29th ranked defense in the NBA over the last 30 games. Ball's easy to zip around when there's just like no rim protection whatsoever. The reason that my parlay that I put up earlier, the Knicks 3-headed parlay of OG, Josh Hart, and Cat, the reason that was able to hit was because the Grizzlies don't start a center. Like there was just at one point in the first half, the Knicks were out rebounding them 22-3. In fact, I'm just going to pull up the box score again. What were the final rebound numbers? The Grizzlies had 20 rebounds tonight. The Knicks had 49. Like, easy to have the ball zip around when you're playing a team like that. There's absolutely a conversation to be had that when you take out a heliocentric, ISO-heavy point guard that at times calls his own number a bit too much, that the rest of the team just has more opportunities to eat. I 100% hear that out. This isn't the game that used that example. It's just not. It also, like, this was a one-possession game in the third quarter. I think you saw what happens when you don't have Jalen Brunson, you know? So, thank you, Riyadh Rahim, or Z Rahim. Robert Cross. What's up, Robert? How are you? First time, long time, it's your boy, John. I was listed as questionable for tonight's game, and I missed it, akin to how our starting 5 often doesn't show up. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Robert, I hope whatever loony bin that you are safely holding residency in at the moment allows you to watch the next game that the Knicks play. I really do, because we like hearing from you, Robert, whether you're able to make a town hall or just tweeting about us or begging me for an emergency live stream. You know, I'm always looking forward to those interactions, Robert, 100% of the time. I hope you're well, Robert. Very much so. I hope you're probable for Friday's game against the Bulls. Next up, Salomon. I don't know why I said your name like that. 1931. I missed most of the game, but glad to get the W and seeing guys hitting shots and Landry back. Hopefully we can build momentum from it. Yeah, I forgot how much I missed Landry Shamet. He has had an outstanding season for the Knicks this year. Landry Shamet tonight, I think John mentioned this in the monologue, 13 points, 3 of 5 from 3, played great defense, had 2 steals in this game. Just adds a level of gravity to what they've been missing over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, I forgot how much I missed Landry Shamet for sure. And yeah, I hope they can build momentum from it. It would just be the most Knicks thing, this version of the Knicks thing, if they go through that 3-game losing streak, which was preceded by 7 games against some stinkers that were not very good. And then they finish the season winning 6 straight. And their next 5 are like, they play the Bulls, who are not good, and the Knicks should win on Friday, right? Then they play the last 4 games of the season are Atlanta. I'm sure, I don't know if John went over this already or not, but it's Atlanta, Boston, Toronto, and Charlotte. It's like 3 teams competing for the 6 seed or the 5 seed. And then it's Boston, who may have already clinched the 2 seed by then, actually. So yeah, I it wouldn't shock me if like it would be very much this team to hit a winning streak to end the season, and then all that consternation was like, yeah, this team won 54 games, the most they've won since Carmelo Anthony and the 2012-13 team did. But But yeah, good to see Landry Shamet back out there. Hopefully, I agree. Hopefully they can build some momentum. Thank you, Salomon. Drew P. Have you seen the OG Cat JB lineup data? You know what, Drew P? We're gonna look that up live on the air. So this is bad podcasting. Okay, so I'm gonna look it up live on the air. I'm pulling up Cleaning the Glass. Mark, dead ass. I'm gonna pull you. Come up on stage, Mark. I legit was like, okay, I'm gonna go look. Forgot I was podcasting for a second. Forgot I was live on YouTube. I was like, wait, I have to talk. Right. So I'm pulling up Cleaning the Glass as we speak. I believe Jonathan Macri is back as well.
John.
I do
Perfect
as well.
Timing. John, have you seen the OG Cat and JB lineup data? Because that's what the question is.
I'll look it up right now.
No, I'm literally looking it up. That's what Andrew is doing.
Oh, you're like asking me if I know it.
He just, he's wanting to know if you could save us
any chance.
My guess, it's not as good as you think it would be. But it's also not as bad as the starters. I'm gonna guess those three together this year have been something like +6 or +7. That's my guess.
In how many possessions?
Oh, I mean, they've played a shit ton of possessions together.
So in a shit ton of possessions, the 3-man trio of OG Anunoby.
Maybe it's a little higher.
Jalen Brunson. This is according to Cleaning the Glass.
Wow, it's lower than I thought.
Are in 2,040 possessions are +3.2.
So the thing that's interesting to note there, 49th percentile defense, which is obviously, pretty much the definition of league average, even if it's 116 points per possession, which is not good. 119.2 scored, which is good. It's only 79%. It's just not good enough. And this is what I always kind of come back to with the starting lineup, which is I assume at least part of the genesis of this question, which is like, and it's funny because if you take one of those out, like let's take
Brunson out. Yeah.
Okay. You take Brunson out. What are they without Brunson?
888 possessions, 99th percentile point differential offense, +18, with the 98th percentile defense at 104.7, 123.4 offensive rating, 104.7, 95th and 98th percentile. The lineups without Brunson are elite.
And I just took out OG, 95th percentile differential, +12.4, 718 possessions. And then we'll complete the exercise. If we take OG out, if we take Cat out, that's going to be
92nd percentile offense, but only the 57th percentile defense.
Yeah, but it's still a 92nd percentile point differential in over 1,000 possessions. So essentially, whenever you have any two of the three, but not all three together, the numbers say they're gangbusters. The reason why I think it's a little bit, you can't just say that like those three guys don't work together, is because the starting lineup numbers are just so bad. So what am I going to do now? Of course, I'm going to say, okay, what did Jalen, OG, and Cat do together when Mikal Bridges is off the court? Here's the problem with that. It's only 251 possessions. Gangbusters offense, 98th percentile, awful defense. And then if we want to go the extra step and take Josh Hart off the court, my guess is that those numbers are going to be pretty good too. +8.2, 868 possessions. With probably the best balance, 122.4 scored, 114.2 against.
Mark, it's a good thing I cashed out.
Yeah.
They took him out. They did the line change.
You're welcome.
Yes. No, honestly, thank you. It was accidental. So
I
went over to squad. Thank you, Drew P, for making us go through the lineup data. I think that was fascinating information. We went through two other squad bets that I had going tonight. One was a +2,000 squad bet of 18 3-pointers made between OG, Tyler Hero, Cam Johnson, and Paul George. When I checked it while you were gone, the four of them were at 17, and Cam Johnson was the only one left to play.
Giddy up.
So Cam Johnson had 8 minutes left, and it was like, do I cash out or not? And then Mark, I was like, keep me posted on whether or not what Cam Johnson is doing by looking at the game log. I read that he put in the chat, I think he just got subbed out of the game. And I was like, oh, cash out immediately. And the actual chat was, I think he just got subbed into the game. So
yeah, the game got close.
He was coming back in, but it didn't matter. He finished with 3 threes, and it was a good thing I cashed out when I did. So, yeah. Squad bets in the Fanatics Sportsbook app. Yes. And that was like a super crazy plus 2,000. So if I just go one less, it would have been plus 1,600 and it would have hit right away. So
no, the squad bet thing is awesome.
Squad bets are the best. So would you like me to stay on for the final? Was it?
Did you want to do the stat of the game?
Oh, let's do stat of the game.
Joe?
I love stat of the game.
Let's do it.
The stat of the game is 36, as in 36 assists, which is a very good number. I'm going to guess that's the 5th highest total of the year. I actually just looked this up earlier.
Wow.
Look at me. I was right. Of the 5 games where they've had at least this many assists, this is the second where Brunson did not play. Interestingly enough. 75% of their baskets were assisted. The 7th time they've hit that mark this season. That's good. They did have a poor assist to turnover ratio because they turned it over 19. Jesus Christ. 19 freaking turnovers they had tonight. This is their 9th game of the season with at least that many. Cat had 11 assists and 7 turnovers. I want to just look up real quick because I feel like what does it say? 9th game with at least 19 turnovers, right? It feels like a bunch of those have come recently. They had 19 tonight. They had 19 against OKC. And they had 22 against Brooklyn. And they had they had 20 against the Clippers and 19 against the Lakers. So that means, what did I just count? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of their games with at least 19 turnovers have come since the Laker game. So it's the last dozen games. 13 games. I don't love that. And I don't know what that says.
Not going into the playoffs.
Damn, Brunson's fault.
Because this was always such a strength of theirs, taking care of the ball. I mean, it was arguably tenet number 1 under the last head coach.
His name is Tom Thibodeau. Say his name. Damn it, John. Respect the man in the chair. By the way, congrats, Doc Rivers.
Did you get voted in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
No, you really did?
Where were you 2 days ago? So did Amari Stoudemire.
I wasn't paying attention. I was
Amari, Candace Parker, Doc Rivers, and 4th person I'm forgetting.
Congrats to them. Well earned honor from Doc Rivers. I was wondering about Amari. I'm sure we've had the Amari Hall of Fame conversation.
He played basketball. Yeah. So he's qualified.
He would have been, I believe, the first person in NBA history with that combination of all NBA and all stars to not make the Hall of Fame.
Right. Which is why he'll make it.
It was interesting because several of those all NBAs, if not all of those all NBAs, were at center. And it was at a time when the position was more devalued than it ever had been. So
Doc Rivers, here's some trivia for you, or a statistical thing for you. He's also the only head coach with 3-1 leads in a series and that were blown to make the Hall of Fame. He's also the only head coach with 5 I was leading in the series.
What did he do
with
to
at least 3 games to then blow the series? I think he's fine. I think he's a perfectly fine head coach. And you know what? He's going to make a perfectly fine podcaster next year. Not as good as us because we're the best, but
definitely not.
Yeah. He's a very good head coach.
Is
he a great head coach?
No.
Not a great head coach. But he's a very, very good head coach.
Give me Mike Brown. All right, next up on... Oh, do you want to do the stat of the game? Not the stat of the game, the defensive player of the game, Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You could do
Huck.
this.
Ariel Huck Porty.
Huck Porty.
Which was amazing because there were some moments.
Huck's Porty.
Huck's.
Oh, yeah, right.
Why?
Thank you.
Why is that? Why? Where would I miss something?
Walt. That's what Walt calls him.
Oh, that's what Walt calls him. Yes, that is correct. I forgot. I thought I was missing a Knicks Film School reference. Nope, that was a Knicks reference. I should watch the game with
And
Sam.
I believe it said he's, according to New York Basketball, he's in 3rd place.
What?
Oh, no, sorry, 5th. Sorry,
He's in 5th.
fifth.
because they have
It's his
4
third.
good defenders. Yes.
It's his third defensive player of the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Shout out to them. All right, home stretch. Let's do
So,
the
hold on.
Oh, never mind. What's
Can
up?
you name? There are one player with 5 All-NBA nods is not counting the active guys, obviously. One player with 5 All-NBA nods is not yet eligible for the Hall of Fame. He has been retired for a few years. Do you want to wager a guess as to who that person is?
5 All-NBA nods and is not yet eligible?
He's not yet eligible.
But
He retired a few years ago. 5 All-NBAs, 6 All-Stars.
Mark
I'll give you another hint. No. Blake
Griffin.
Blake Griffin. I suspect Blake Griffin will get it.
He will. He played basketball.
The other guy, the only other player,
also a hell of a college player too.
He was.
yes, who has been eligible.
Hi,
for
Dexter.
several-
Dexter's in the chat to Peace KFS fam. Hi, Dexter.
Oh, what's up, Dex?
Oh, hi, Rich McLeod too. Just Metz is in the chat.
Hi, Rich, and speedy recovery to Dex.
Yes, that's right. Towards Achilles.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, other than to put Blake aside and put the active guys aside, there was one player, now that Amari's in, who has 5 All-NBA nods that is not in the Hall of Fame. He has been eligible for a long time. And interesting, 5 All-NBAs, only 3 All-Star appearances.
What position?
He is a
is that giving it away?
I'll give you he's a guard.
Did the guard do a lot of losing?
No, he was he made 1 finals. He was not the best player on the team to make the finals.
Kevin Johnson.
That's correct.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, that
What
once you said the made a finals, that gave it to me because then it's 94.
Yeah.
Didn't he had a few controversial
They were gonna do a 30 for 30 on him in Sacramento, and then some news things came out.
Yeah.
Made us
So
maybe
yeah.
that's why.
but like
I've
Not
never
being
seen them do
invited?
the character clause for the NBA for the Basketball
Oh.
Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I think we can look at some recent inductees and been like, huh. But Kevin Johnson also was like John said, not the best player on the team that made
at the
finals.
same time, like 4-time All-NBA second team.
Mhm.
That's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, again, as you say, he played basketball. So
I was gonna say, but also he played basketball.
So
he's
I don't
probably
it's just,
gonna make the Hall of Fame one day.
it's just interesting that now, and we don't have to do the whole the list of like guys with 4 All-NBAs, but like pretty much all of them are in there too. So it's
Your
just,
talent and your fascination and your appreciation for the Hall of Fame is so wasted on this Hall of Fame. You should be so into baseball.
No,
when
I'm
they
just-
actually parse out these numbers and have a standard of like, Hall of Very Good, Hall of Fame, and instead you pick the museum that's like, you know what? Is there a different league that you once played in that you had a 4-game stretch in? Go ahead. Welcome to Springfield.
I care about the accolades, as you know, a lot.
I agree. The accolades are great. It's so wasted on this top 15% that get into the basketball. Hall of Fame.
Andrew, I can't wait until the entire KFS crew gets to go to Springfield to go watch your induction for hitting that free throw in the Knicks Twitter.
I played basketball.
Yeah, man.
I'm eligible.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, when
celebration.
Knicks Film School wins the Knicks Twitter, the Knicks Twitter basketball tournament this upcoming season. Yes, and
That'd be
Sean
awesome.
and Jeff and Mensa and
That'd be awesome.
Benji, if we ever get him allowed to play, and maybe John and Jeremy will.
Speaking of the Hall of Fame,
Coach.
he was probably
Yeah,
out of all
well,
of them.
Benji won the competition at Fanatics Fest.
Yes,
so
I remember
that's
The
much more
3-point contest.
much more prestigious.
Pretty
Exactly.
cool.
Let's wrap up with the super chats before John goes down a further rabbit hole of the Hall of Very Good.
I'm here all night. Mike Michio, can we be more melodramatic? Season over again. Was I being melodramatic? I don't know.
I think he's asking us to be more melodramatic.
Oh, okay. Not
Nicho,
tonight.
I cannot wait until they blow up this team this summer. Like
There you
Mark,
go.
Mark, Mark, have you ever seen a more unlikable, quote unquote, good team?
Not
Did I say
not in my lifetime.
No, I
Man,
didn't.
not in my lifetime.
Not in my lifetime. I got good news for you. One of two things will happen this summer, folks.
Oh my God, stop it.
Either they're going to win the title for the first time in forever, or
we don't have to sit through this crap anymore
ever again.
Listen, that is good news.
I thought it was a good clip.
No, it's a good point.
Yeah. Next up.
JDL, what's going on? I think frustrations this year have more to do with preseason belief that the East was going to be a 6-pack of ass. Love it. And the Knicks would have an easier go of it, and it turned out not to be true.
Be a fine bottle of wine.
I got over that a few months ago. It's the how for me. It's the what. It's what and the how. They just
part of it. This is, I think everybody else, this is part of it, that they thought this was their season to be what the Pistons are this year.
You know what the frustration is the fact that we're sitting there watching this first quarter and like we're having like a legitimate back and forth conversation about, oh, isn't it interesting how their best players in the game and they look awesome? Like that shouldn't be a conversation, regardless of how ridiculous the conversation actually is. It shouldn't be a conversation that should even be had.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're
I brought it up on a previous super chat that like I wasn't entertaining any of it because of what the Grizzlies are. There is a fascinating conversation about that. They have 2 very good lineups in their top 7 or 8, and none of them are the starting 5, and they probably don't include their 2 best players. So, and then the lineup data we got to look up earlier, you know.
What's you got another from JDL.
Oh, JDL with another.
Basically trying to find a mindset where I can enjoy watching this team in the playoffs without throwing full cans of beer at the TV.
Well,
I mean, here's the good news about the playoffs. It's just about winning and losing. You know, you don't have to worry about how they play. You don't have to worry about how they come across the wins. It's just about like advance and move on. That's all.
Cosign. Robert Cross, Legend of GMAC. I wake up cantankerous every day. Is that because the alarm bells at the loony bin are really loud, or do they have an actual rooster that wakes you? And you're kind up, you know. So listen, I have appreciation for the loony bin Robert exists in. So, Robert, we love you, by the way. Just to be clear.
Love you, Robert.
Next up.
Bill Peterfriend, my guy. John, in your gut, do you see a long run, or are they too broken? Or are other teams, Sixers, Hawks, too good or bad matchups? Hard to see them.
Bill, I know you've been watching, Bill. I know you've been watching.
How long have you been watching these post games? You asked John that question? Jonathan Macri. We talk about the same person here.
Don't
answer. You've answered every post game for the last 76 games. It's fine. Bill, we know the answer.
I don't know. I think broken's the wrong adjective. I don't think they're broken. I think that they're flawed. And I think that those flaws are going to be very, very hard to overcome to beat some good teams.
You want to answer the too good or bad matchups question? Because I think that's more specific.
I know. So I was just looking at the standings. Raptors did indeed fall to 7th. Now Sixers have some brutal games coming up. The Hawks, we'll see. The Hawks have some tough ones too. Those games. What do we said? It's games against Miami, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think if you're handicapping it right now, you probably have to put the Hawks in the driver's seat for the 5th seed, which means if you're the Knicks, again, it's like, do you want the 6? And then maybe you play, might that be Toronto? Could be Philly. Or are you just trying to get out of Boston's half of the bracket? And it's crazy that we have to pay Boston that level of respect, but like, I don't know. I'll say this as of right now, if you're asking me who I'd rather play in the second round, I'll say Detroit. Maybe famous last words.
I want whatever seed it is that lets me play Toronto. If they don't play Toronto, I bring on Atlanta. and then
I'd rather
after
play
that,
Philly.
I would rather play Philly
I
too.
want no part of Maxey. I want no part of like Paul George and Edgecombe for 7 games. And Embiid, like if he's just like additional
Edgecombe, I hear you on Edgecombe
I-
and Maxey.
I just want no
I'm
part of
worried about
Maxey
Paul.
for Maxey's the best player of either of those two teams. I want no
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the
Philly
best
has
player
more
of those two
talent,
teams.
and Philly has the better high end talent. Certainly, I think the way Atlanta is playing as a team right now is really impressive.
Against 2.
Nobody good.
Nobody good. The 2 times they played anybody worth a damn was Houston and they lost by a bunch, and Boston and they lost by a bunch. And Boston was missing Jaylen Brown that night. This whole winning streak is this whole stretch that they've been on is a bunch of losers.
Out of everybody, Atlanta, Philly, Toronto, Orlando, and Miami, definitely, arguably even Charlotte. I do think Philadelphia has like the highest ceiling, but again, it's the same conversation as we're having with the Knicks, which is like, how often are they going to reach that ceiling, and how low is their floor? Because they could look like dog shit sometimes, even when their guys are healthy. So, I think the Knicks would beat Philly.
You know who looks like dog shit against anybody that's like marginally over 500? The Atlanta Hawks.
Let's wait and see. They have some games coming up against some real teams. Let's see how they do.
Let's see.
Yeah, a couple
Sounds
more
good.
from JDL, and thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Who does Atlanta play next? The Nets.
I guarantee they'll look great in that game. Yeah.
Think frustrations this year. Oh, we got this one already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this one.
Yeah,
already.
yeah, this
I don't
one
know
we
if there's
got.
another one from JJ.
Okay, all right. Yeah, wait, what happened here? Oh, God.
Robert Cross, Mark. This one's for you, Mark. Can you do one of these KFS playoff hype videos? Just don't put the starting 5 in the same scene.
That's funny.
Robert, that's one of your best ones. I hope they let you have an extra fruit cup tonight. That was great.
I'm gonna, man. Can I say this?
What?
A postseason hype video this year would have the feel for me of like watching Fox News, where it would be we would be selectively picky, because there's been a lot of really great stuff from this year, and it's like, look at the good stuff that's happening here. We will just sweep under the rug all of the existential crises and reasons to like feel absolutely awful about everything.
You know, that's, as an editor, I appreciate that analogy very deeply, and for other reasons too, but that's a solid analogy.
I appreciate that.
Andrew doesn't know. I don't know if I'll ever do a hype video. I agree. Like, I kind of feel like John in a way, you know, like a few years ago, I mean, we were all cooking.
Well, it's not that there weren't tough losses the year you did the first hype video, but
they weren't necessarily, they went into that series against the Sixers as underdogs, right?
I mean, there was a toss up, but like
There's a toss up.
The bad, it's like, yeah, there were tough losses and things that happened, but like it wasn't, you know, there was nothing disingenuous about making a hype video focusing on only the positives.
Mark made the Brunson hype video with the Star Wars music.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, and then I did the Why Not Now one because that team was magical enough. There was nothing magical about last year's team, hence why
I started one last year. I will say that.
And then,
I had a whole trajectory, and I was kind of assuming they would get by. I started it in the middle of the Pistons series, and,
so it's your fault.
Yeah, that's I didn't want to be blamed. Anyway,
I don't blame you for what it's worth.
Thanks, Robert. Maybe we'll see.
Robert, you nailed the punchline.
Depends on how magical.
I think this was a very fair and balanced super chat. Next up,
Huzzu, trade Brunson. We're so back.
A lot of that in the first half. Dealing with that on the watch along. My goodness.
All right, we got the last one.
Last one.
This is such a great name.
Dying because the Knicks. This is a good one. The Knicks are good, but in a I was just looking at Mark Price's stats. Another guy not in the Hall of Fame. but in a Mark Price and Brad Daugherty led Cavs sort of way. A perennial second-round team and one outlier Eastern Conference Finals, no one really fears us. So a couple things. One, I think all the stuff that you see popping up, Ian had a report of this nature maybe a month or so ago. I saw there was a Chandler Parsons thing that popped up yesterday or the day before. Like, I think that stuff is real. I don't think this is a media concoction. I think teams around the league don't view the Knicks as a team to quote-unquote fear. That's different than like the Knicks are a pushover or like everybody, people like are dying to play. The Knicks are still really talented. They're still and they do still have a level of toughness to them where no matter how bad they're playing, no matter how or sorts they are, they still fight back in games, which is why I think to characterize them as a perennial second round out is disingenuous to how they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year, which is 2 comebacks that you could watch the sport for 100 years and you will never see consecutive comebacks like that. And then it was followed shortly thereafter by a Game 4 performance that was they played as good a second half as any team played last year in any game. Now, that Game 4 performance was bookended by 2 absolute pieces of dog shit, including one in the most hyped game at Madison Square Garden that had been played in a quarter century. So that's part of their DNA too. The biggest reason I'm pushing back against this is like Mark Price and Brad Daugherty were like that team. You knew they did not have the talent to win a championship. The Knicks actually do have the talent to win the championship. It has been their inability to put that talent together. So in that sense, they're actually very different from the Brad Daugherty and Mark Price team because that team milked the most it could get out of its talent. This Knicks team is the opposite. They have the talent. They're just not getting the most out of it, which puts them in some less flattering categories.
I do appreciate the analogy because Brad Daugherty, also a number 1 pick, like Cat, Mark Price, shifty point guard that probably today is taking more threes.
Definitely.
To John's point, the disingenuous part that I will add is this team has gone further in the playoffs every year of this run. Like they made the first round under Tibbs, made the second that first year that we here season, made the second round after defeating Cleveland, lost in 6 games. Made the second round again, made it 7 games. Last year, made it to the conference finals. We have not seen them go backwards yet. Like we have only seen them continue to get further and further. And it's the thing I am holding on to right now with my optimism that they have one more step further to go with this core. I don't disagree with anybody else that may feel differently, but that's where my optimism comes from. They've earned that.
Last thing on this, those Cavs teams, their greatest opponents were Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing and like Isaiah, it was a little after Isaiah, but like you get it. This Knicks team's greatest opponent is the Knicks. That's the difference.
Ooh, that's a
deep.
bar.
That was deep.
It's only because I watched them play basketball.
Finish on that.
Like a version of that has been said, but yes, I co-signed the bar. Which year is the year of the Michael Jordan running jumper?
That was in the late 80s, and it's funny. I just looked up.
Yeah, it's 89. It's 89. They were 57 and 25 that season.
And actually, put some respect on the Cavs' name. They made an Eastern Conference Finals. They took the aforementioned Bulls to 6 games.
Yeah, that's what he said. They made 1 conference finals.
That was when? What year? That was 89?
No, that was
92. Yeah, they were the opponent that. So if I remember right, the 3 Bulls, maybe I can name all 6. So the Bulls made the final 6 times, right, in the 90s. 91, they played the Pistons, officially dethroned them after 2 championships. 92, played the Cavs, and they had traded for somebody in the offseason to be the Jordan stopper. Jordan went on to average like 30 a game, and they swept the Cavs that series in 92.
No, 6 games. I just looked it up.
That wasn't a sweep?
No, 6 games.
Oh, so was the year before a sweep?
So Pistons they swept in 91.
Right. So
Cavs,
that's the sweep I'm thinking of. Yes,
6
that's the sweep I'm
games
thinking of.
in 92.
The Knicks in 93.
Yeah.
Okay. 96. That's the Orlando Magic in
Sweep.
4, who made the conference final, who made the finals the year before. Then it's the Heat, which I care a lot about that series.
Games.
That series went 5. Alonzo Mourning guaranteed a Game 4 win, and then the Indiana
only
Pacers,
game 7.
Pacers,
Jordan.
they went 7, and the Bulls had 11 offensive rebounds in the second half, most in the fourth quarter where they put the game away.
Crazy game. I remember watching that game.
Robert threw one more in.
All right. Last one. First time, long time. It's your boy John. If the starting 5 needs a therapist, I have 3 of them I see weekly. I'm sure you do, Robert. Okay.
We love you, Robert.
No shame.
I think that the Mets need a therapist right now because nothing I'm saying is working.
That was your job.
I know it's not working. They won't hit when I tell them to.
On Sports Night, I came in after a segment with John Jastrzemski and Sal Licata about it was a whole segment on should we panic about this Mets thing? Should we panic about that Mets thing?
No. Mother bleeper.
It was very funny. It was very funny to come in after that.
Remember Game 5 of this basketball season where everybody thought, oh, they're 2-3, the season's over. That's what I'm going through right now. But imagine if it was the first quarter of Game 1. Like 3% of the Mets season has happened, and the fan base is nuts at the moment. But plenty of baseball left.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrew, for helping me out tonight.
Sounds good. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark, for everything that you do.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mark, for everything that you do. I'll co-sign that.
You're welcome, guys.
And thank you, everybody, for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. I'm playing hooky on Friday. I'm not gonna be here on Friday. So the illustrious Jeff J will take you all guys home, hopefully, God willing, after the Knicks' second straight victory against the Chicago Bulls. And so yeah, me and Jeremy are doing our show on Sunday night. I don't know, are we going live for that, or is I gonna record that? We'll go live.
What?
Okay, I don't know.
Why wouldn't it be live?
I don't know. Because it's Easter. I don't know. This is what happens when I think.
Be live.
What?
This is what happens when I think.
And
I need you to think less here. Just say words without thinking, John.
And then it's the last week of the season, and that's it. Last week of the regular season.
Hold on. Oh, never mind. Robert's super chat just showed up in my stage, so never mind.
There you go.
Ignore everything I just said. Yes, we have one more week left in the regular season, and then the fun begins.
All right. Thanks everybody for checking out the episode, and help support the show. Do all those things. 5-star rating, review, the whole thing. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.